For the first time in 6 months, we had over 200 new listings come to market in the last 7 days. Spoiler alert, it's still not enough. Let's talk about it and more in this week's segment of Market Watch. Hello and happy Friday and happy Earth Day, everyone. It's Joshua Barks here, associate broker with Keller Williams Realty Boise and team lead of the Barks & Co. real estate team, here with this week's segment of Market Watch. If you're new to the channel, we talk about the Boise area housing market on a week-over-week basis, and then once a month we go into a deep dive into our market dynamics. Click below for last week's update. And we also, if you want to receive our newsletter we send out every week with this update, you can do that in the description below. You can sign up for that email. Without further ado, let's dive into those numbers. Some exciting news for this week. We finally have a significant amount of new listings coming to market. The reason I put that in quotes is because we have over 200 new listings that came to market this week, which is the first time we've been over 200 new listings on a week-over-week basis since early October. So over 6 months for that to happen. And what we're seeing now is finally we have over 400 active listings. We have 445 available homes in Ada County, which is, again, higher than we've had since basically December, which is great. Still not nearly enough though, because overall pendings, we have 689 pending. So we have 689 pending and 445 active. 689 is down a little bit from last week's 700 overall, but fairly flat, I would say. When we're looking at the number of homes sold in the last 7 days, we actually saw an increase in that. We had 172 homes sell in the last 7 days compared to last week when we had 128. I do anticipate the number of home sales to have an uptick this week because it is the end of the month, so we'll see what happens next week for that. When we're looking at the average days on market, it looks like the average days on market is coming down a little bit according to what's active out there. Last week we saw for everything active, we had an average days on market of 30. Right now, for everything that's active in the multiple listing service, we have 28 days on average. When we're looking at the pendings though, we're seeing 11 days on average before the ones that are pending out of that 689 took 11 days on average for those to get an accepted offer and go pending. So pretty good news there. It looks like inventory is finally starting to come up. The downside is interest rates are also still coming up. We actually surpassed that 5% mark this week officially. So the new national average interest rate, according to Freddie Mac's research, when they poll, I believe it's like the top 80 mortgage brokers around the nation, and find out what that average rate is. And this week it's 5.11 for the 30-year fix. Still low historically, however, much higher than what we saw at the beginning of the year and what we've had over the past couple of years. Now, mind you, with interest rates, that 5.11% isn't saying that your interest rate will be 5.11%, because everyone's situation is different. Your financial situation, your credit worthiness, and things like that. So if you're actually interested in what your interest rate would be, let me know and I'll set you up with a great lender. We have amazing lender partners that actually work all over the US. So just let us know and we can help you get situated so you can determine what your rate would be in that range. Because the tricky part when it comes to interest rates is they're fluctuating daily. This is the report that just comes out once a week. So I feel like it's a good indicator of what's happening overall with interest rates. And they are likely still going to continue to rise, even though they've been rising significantly. This week, however, is the first time we rose by just 1/10 of a percentage point in over a month. So that might be good news that interest rates are, while they're rising, but maybe it's at a slower pace. Too soon to tell, because this week might just be a fluke and next week we might see another huge jump. However, it kind of looks like interest rates might be slowing down a little bit. Now, with interest rates, that is impacting people's buying power. I do know some people are stepping out of the market, so it's actually great news for buyers. Mixed news, maybe. Great news for buyers that are still in the market because things are going to be less competitive. You have fewer buyers that you're competing against, and the likelihood of homes selling for, 50,000, 100,000 over asking is going to be much lower than it was even a few months ago, but especially a year ago. Now, on the selling side, it's still great news for you because it's still an incredibly hot seller's market. Like I said, we only have 445 active listings in all of Ada County. That's 6 municipalities, 6 cities total, and there's only 445 available homes. And we have almost 700 pending. So we still have significantly more pending than we have available. So prices are still going to continue to rise, just supply versus demand, but we're not going to see the same drastic increase that we saw over the last couple of years. At least that's not what I expect because interest rates keep rising. So along with those, we anticipate prices to kind of level off there. And that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing it slow down, which is incredible. We've been waiting for a little bit of a reprieve there, and now people can really take their time and think about what they want to do before actually pulling the trigger and making things happen. If you are in the situation of, speaking of moving, if you are in the situation of thinking about moving in the near future, maybe it's this late spring, summer, or even in the fall this year, now might be a great time to sit down with a real estate professional that you trust. I'm always happy to be interviewed. I'm here to help answer any questions that you have in order to better prepare you for the market at hand. You can book me directly at my website. The link to that is also going to be in the description, where you can choose exactly what day and time works for you, and it pops it directly onto my calendar, so there's no back and forth and things like that. And it works 99.9% of the time, so that's a fantastic tool. We can meet in person or via Zoom with technology these days, so it's really easy to set up that meeting, and it's really informative. I've heard from a lot of clients that they have found that very helpful to get started and get the ball rolling so that they can be on track. And just so you know, meeting with me doesn't mean that you are moving. Absolutely. I've met with people that are years behind or ahead of time, I guess I could say, where we meet, they're not ready, the timing's not right, the market's not right, whatever it happens to be. And then maybe in a couple years, they decide to do something. I've actually had that happen where I had somebody that was shopping 2 years ago and then decided not to, and then they came back around this year. So that's pretty fantastic when that happens. I'm always here to help educate you. And if you have any questions, if there's anything else that you'd like me to cover in these videos, please do let me know. I'd like these to be as valuable for you as possible because I'm doing them for you.